Shirley Temple was the original child star. Not only was she one of the biggest stars, she was one of the most popular actors, period, during the late 1930s. Temple began her career at the age of 3. 2 years later, she achieved international fame in the movie Bright Eyes, a feature film produced especially for her. She even received a special Juvenile Academy Award in February of 1935 for her outstanding contribution as a juvenile performer in motion pictures. Her movie credits included hits such as Curly Top and Heidi, and they followed year after year during the mid to late 1930s. She appeared in 29 films from age 3 to 10, but in only 14 films from age 14 to 21. But after retiring from acting in her 20s, she instead turned to politics. Temple ran unsuccessfully for Congress in 1967, but was later appointed by Richard Nixon to the United Nations General Assembly. Later, she became ambassador to Ghana and chief of protocol under Gerald Ford, and was also ambassador to Czechoslovakia under George H.W. Bush. Grace Kelly was an American actress who, after starring in several significant films, including 3 Alfred Hitchcock movies, gave it all up. Kelly retired from acting at age 26 to marry Prince Rainier of Monaco, and she began her duties as the Princess of Monaco. The couple had 3 children, Princess Caroline, Prince Albert, and Princess Stephanie. Her charity work focused on young children and the arts. In 1964, she established the Princess Grace Foundation to support local artisans and the World Association of Children's Friends, which worked with organizations from the United Nations. Grace's final film contribution was to the documentary The Children of Theater Street in 1977, where she served as the narrator. But in 1982, Princess Grace died from injuries sustained in a car accident in the hills of France. A lot of actors on this list retired after a good number of years in the business. Danny Lloyd went out after 2 years, and at the age of 10. His first and best-known role came in 1980 as Danny Torrance in Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. He was selected for the role because of his ability to maintain his concentration for extended periods of time. Although he continued auditioning for movie roles, Lloyd couldn't catch a break. He grew tired of the process by his early teens and told his parents he was quitting acting. Saying farewell to Hollywood, Lloyd married and raised 4 children, and is now a biology professor at a Kentucky university. One of Grace Kelly's co-stars also retired from acting. Carrie Grant initially appeared in crime films and dramas. During the 1940s and 1950s, Grant also had a close working relationship with director Alfred Hitchcock, who cast him in 4 of his films. Toward the end of his career, Grant was praised by critics as a romantic leading man. In 1966, at age 62, Cary Grant welcomed his only child, Jennifer Grant, with his then wife, Diane Cannon. After his marriage fell apart, Grant focused on his role as a doting father, refusing all offers to return to the big screen. Big business, however, did hold some appeal to Grant, and he agreed to take on some executive roles for corporations. He served as a director for the cosmetic company Fabergé, and had business relationships with MGM and Western Airlines too. Grant had made 72 movies over the course of his career, so maybe the decision to pack it all in wasn't all that difficult. In the 1980s and 1990s, Phoebe Cates appeared in several movies, including Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Gremlins, and Drop Dead Fred. Cates' departure from acting aligned with the birth of her second child in 1994. Phoebe Cates has 2 children, Greta and Owen, with her actor husband Kevin Kline, who she married in 1989. The couple first met while auditioning for the movie The Big Chill. Cates didn't get the role, but the two sparked a connection that would come back around years later. 2 years after first meeting, Kevin hired Cates' former assistant just to get a date with Phoebe, and the rest is history. Since 2005, Cates has owned a boutique in New York City called Blue Tree, but you still may occasionally spot her on the red carpet on the arm of her husband. For a brief time, Michael Scheffling looks set to be one of Hollywood's premier heartthrobs. First appearing as Jake Ryan, the object of Molly Ringwald's affection in the teen classic 16 Candles, Scheffling carved out a career as a hunk for hire in the 1980s. Scores of women like 90s teen icons Sarah Michelle Gellar and Jennifer Love Hewitt have publicly declared that Jake Ryan became the benchmark by which all were measured. Scheffling continued to model between acting jobs, and it was through this that he met his future wife, fellow model Valerie Robinson. The couple have 2 children, one of whom, Scarlett Scheffling, is also now a model. Michael Scheffling now lives with his wife in Pennsylvania, where he owns a woodworking shop and builds furniture. Mara Wilson rose to fame in the 1990s as a child star in Mrs. Doubtfire and Matilda. Life as a child star is a strange existence. The damaging lows can overshadow the highs of being in the entertainment industry, especially at a young age. The pressure and expectations can put a lot of unhealthy stress on kids, especially young girls who face a different set of standards than their male counterparts. Wilson explained that as she got older, she found that her appearance didn't fit in with what Hollywood wanted. The young performer decided to step away from acting for good in order to focus on writing. To this day, Wilson works as a writer and director, and although she has since acted in a few small roles, primarily voiceovers, she has chosen a whole new life for herself, far away from the days of being in front of the camera. Twins Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen had been in front of the camera since before they could walk or even talk. Full House first aired in 1987. The show starred Bob Saget as a recent widower who shared his home with his brother-in-law and a friend as they helped him raise his kids. The twins were cast as Michelle Tanner, the youngest member of the household, and the Olsens' first on-screen appearance came when John Stamos, as Uncle Jesse, carried one of them into the room. The show climbed the charts and peaked at number 7 by 1992. After the show ended, the twins moved on to many other movies, TV shows, and business ventures before they stopped acting entirely in the early 2010s. Now, after having left Hollywood, they are respected fashion designers in their own right. Cameron Diaz was working as a model when she auditioned for a big part for the movie The Mask in 1994. To her amazement, and despite having no previous acting experience, she was cast as the female lead in the film opposite Jim Carrey. She was an A-list actor for many years, starring in hits like Charlie's Angels, The Holiday, and There's Something About Mary. And she's quoted as saying, "I love acting, but the way I look at it, I've given more than half of my life to the public." By leaving acting in 2014, she could redirect her energies to things that were more important at the time, like her family. As she transitioned away from acting, she's released 2 popular wellness-themed books, The Body Book and The Longevity Book.